Adi Shakti, or the primordial energy, which is the basis of all material aspects of creation, is worshipped in a personified form as the Divine Mother in Sanatana Dharma. While the vast emptiness of existence is depicted as Shiva, or the masculine counterpart, it is Shakti and her millions of different manifestations which give birth to creation. Adi Shankaracharya describes this ardently in the very first shloka of Saundarya Lahari, saying, "O Goddess, Shiva is capable of action only because of you. If it weren't for you, he would be as unresponsive as a corpse." Out of the hundreds and thousands of forms in which Adi Shakti is worshipped, some of the most prominent classifications are the three Devis of Parvati, Lakshmi and Saraswati, based on the three gunas of Tamas, Rajas and Sattva, the 9 manifestations of Navadurgas based on the waxing phases of the moon, and the 10 systems of knowledge that lead to liberation called as Dasha Mahavidyas. The word Vidya in Sanskrit is generally used to refer to knowledge and learning, but it is described in Vishnu Purana as Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye. True knowledge is that which leads to liberation. In that sense, Mahavidya is something that leads to ultimate liberation or moksha. Dasha Mahavidyas are 10 different systems of knowledge which offer various ways of worshipping Goddess Adi Shakti through unique names, Nama, forms, Rupa, vehicles, Yana, and weaponry, Ayudha. All of these attributes represent the nature of that knowledge system and the kind of energy associated with it. As energy in its raw form could be both a force of destruction and disaster and also bounty and benevolence, these feminine representations range from utterly fierce or ugramurtis like Kali and Chinnamasta to extremely pleasing forms or Saumya Murtis like Shodashi and Kamalatmika. The processes and offerings of worship of these Murtis correspond to their nature, and naturally the kind of results that their sadhana confers also depends on it. In this video, let us try and understand each of these 10 manifestations with the help of their Sanskrit Shlokas from Tantric and Puranic references. While Puranas are filled with symbolic stories which are meant to instill awe and devotion, Tantric texts present a more technical description of the forms of the goddess and the various methods of invocation and worship. The origin story of the Dasha Mahavidyas from Brihad Dharma Purana goes something like this. Once upon a time, Sati Devi wanted to attend a yajna planned by her father Daksha Prajapati. Shiva, however, asked her not to go there since they were not invited there by Daksha. Sati Devi gets angered by this, and when Shiva tries to escape from that conversation, she locks him in place from all the 10 directions. Shiva, then in amazement, asks her of these 10 forms, and she explains each of them to him from Shlokas 128 to 130. She attributes each Mahavidya to each of the 10 cardinal directions respective to Shiva, with Kali in front, Tara at the top, Bhairavi below, Chinnamasta to the right, Bhuvaneshwari to the left, Bagalamukhi at the back, Dhumavati in Agneya, Kamalatmika in Nairuti, Matangi in Vayavya, and Shodashi in Ishanya directions. This Puranic story depicts that the Dasha Mahavidyas are the representations of subtle differences in how Shakti is manifest around Shiva. All of them are given personified forms and traits which are used to access that dimension of energy. Their Dhyanashlokas and the corresponding puja vidhanas are detailed in texts like Tantra Sahara, Shakta Pramoda, and Shakti Sangama Tantra. There are of course hundreds of variations of each Dasha Mahavidya and a deep significance behind each aspect of their depiction, but for now let us have a brief understanding of their Dhyanashlokas and the broad insights that we can derive from each of them. The Dhyanashloka corresponding to goddess Kali is as follows. Shavarudham Mahabhimam Ghora Danshtram Hasan Mukhim Chaturbhujam Khadga Munda Varabhayakaram Shivam Munda Mala Dharan Devim Lalajjihvan Digambarim Evam Sanchintayet Kalim Shmashanalaya Vasinim. Kali, which literally means the dark one, is the embodiment of both time and the dark primal energy of existence. In that sense, she is seen as the mother from which all the other Vidyas sprang forth through her union with the masculine counterpart called Kala. She is one of the extremely fierce manifestations of Shakti and is said to be equipped with terrible fangs, adorned with a garland of skulls, riding on a corpse, with the cremation grounds as her abode. While these depictions, along with a sickle and a severed head in her hands, denote her association with the destructive aspects of existence. She also has a compassionate, motherly nature depicted through her smiling face, and Abhaya, fear-dispelling, and Varada, boon-providing mudras. Kali Sadhana is said to grant the sadhaka control over one's own ego, depicted by the severed head, victory over internal and external enemies, fearlessness, and fulfillment of desires. The Dhyanashloka, corresponding to the second Mahavidya, Tara, is as follows. Pratyalidha padarpitangri shavahrid ghoratta hasapara khadgendivaraka trikharpara bhuja hunkara bijodbhava kharva neela vishala pingala jata jutaika nagairyuta jadyan yasya kapala kartrujagatam hantyugra tara swayam. Tara, which literally means the one who takes us across, is the Mahavidya who is situated above Sadashiva. She is depicted to be of a bluish hue with long matted locks of hair. She is said to have a cacophonic laughter, holding a sickle, a lotus, a bowl made of skull, and a pair of shears. She too is depicted as a fierce manifestation or an Ugramurti, who also has an extremely compassionate aspect to her, which is predominantly worshipped in some cultures. Tara sadhana is said to liberate the sadhaka from any existing troubles and take them to a better state of physical and spiritual well-being. The Dhyanashloka, corresponding to the next Mahavidya, Shodashi, is as follows. Balarka mandalabhasam chaturbaham trilochanam pashankusha sharanschapam dharayantim shivam bhaje. Shodashi, or the goddess of 16 syllables, is the third of the Dasha Mahavidyas. She is the embodiment of all 16 aspects of the moon, which have a direct correlation with the nature of the feminine on the planet. The mantra of her worship consists of 16 syllables, and she is sometimes worshipped as a young girl of 16 years. She is also the first of the Saumya Murtis among the Dasha Mahavidyas. In her 4 hands, she holds a noose, a gourd, 5 arrows, and a bow. She is worshipped by many other names like Lalita, Rajarajeshwari, and Mahatripura Sundari. This is the form of the goddess, who is the presiding deity of the Sri Yantra. Worship of Devi Shodashi is said to grant the sadhaka with complete control over the 5 senses, represented by the 5 arrows in her hands, and one's own mind, represented by the bow. The Dhyanashloka, corresponding to the next Mahavidya, Bhuvaneshwari, is as follows. Udyaddina dyutim indu kiritam tunga kucham nayanatraya yuktam smera mukhim varadankusha pashabhitikaram prabhaje Bhuvaneshwarim. Bhuvaneshwari, which literally means the ruler of the world, Bhuvanam, is the 4th of the Dasha Mahavidyas. She is depicted to be of the radiance of the early morning, with the moon as her crown. She is depicted as a fully mature woman with a prominent bosom, a pleasant face, and 3 eyes. In her 4 hands, she holds a noose, a gourd, and the Abhaya and Varada mudras. Worship of Devi Bhuvaneshwari is said to grant success and prosperity in one's worldly pursuits. The Dhyanashloka, corresponding to the 5th Mahavidya, Chinnamasta, is as follows. Pratyalidha padam sadaiva dadhatim chinnan shirang kartrikam digvastram svakabandha shonita sudha dharam pibantim muda nagabadha shiromanim trinayanam hridyutpalalankritam ratyasakta manobhavo paridrudham dhyaye javasannibham. The word Chinnamasta is a combination of 2 words, Chinna meaning split and Mastaka meaning head. Devi Chinnamasta is said to have severed her own head, representative of setting aside one's own limited identity. She, along with her attendants, are depicted to be consuming the outcome of this, which is the 3 streams of blood jutting out, representative of the Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna nadis. She is depicted to be free of her physical identity, clad in nothing but a snake and a garland of skulls. She is also seen to be standing above the couple Rati and Manobhava in sexual union, depicting her nature of having risen above the primal urges of nature. The worship of this form of Devi has been limited to those who are not involved in worldly pursuits. The Dhyanashloka, corresponding to the 6th Mahavidya, Bhairavi, is as follows. Udyadbhanu sahasra kanti marunak shaugam shiro malikam raktalipta payodharam japapatim vidyamabhitim varam hastabjair dadhatim trinetra vilasad vaktrara vindashriyam devim baddha himanshu ratna mukutam vande samandasmitam. The literal meaning of the word Bhairavi is the one who is beyond sound, Rava. Devi Bhairavi is said to be of a dark complexion and as radiant as 1,000 rising suns. She is said to have a pleasant, smiling face with 3 eyes. In her 4 hands, she holds a Japamala, a Pustaka, and the Abhaya and Varada mudras. Bhairavi sadhana is said to remove physical weaknesses, fulfill worldly desires, and grant stability and strength for higher pursuits of life. The Dhyanasaluka corresponding to the 7th Mahavidya, Dhumavati, is as follows. Vivarna chanchala dushta dirghacha malinambara vimukta kuntala ruksha vidhava viraladvija kakadhvaja ratharudha vilambita payodhara shurpa hastati rukshaksha dhuta hasta varanvita pravriddha ghonatu bhrishankutila kutilekshana kshutpipasardita nityam bhayada kalahaspada. This unique form of the goddess is representative of the fact that raw energy is not always just pleasant and nourishing. She is depicted to be harsh, sapless, and crooked. As a personified form, she is depicted with a wrinkled body, scornful face, rough hair, and long, sharp nails. She is said to cause the sufferings of hunger, thirst, fear, and enmity. The yantra of this manifestation of energy differs from the others in a sense of locking it inside rather than letting it radiate all across. The Dhyanashloka corresponding to the 8th Mahavidya, Bagalamukhi, is as follows. Madhye sudhabdhi manimandapa ratnavedi simhasanoparigatam paripita varnam pitambara malya vibhushitangim devim namami dhrutamudgara vairijihvam. The word Bagalamukhi is a derivation from the Sanskrit word Valga, which means to hold or control. She is the embodiment of the force of Stambhana, which is to stop, obstruct, or restrain. She is depicted to be holding out the tongue of Madanasura, wielding a mace in her other hand. Worship of Devi Bagalamukhi is said to paralyze the negative forces and defeat one's enemies. The Dhyanashloka corresponding to the next Mahavidya, Matangi, is as follows. Manikyabharananvitam smitamukhim nilotpalabham varam ramyalaktaka liptapada kamalam netratrayolasinim veena-vadana tatparam suranutam kirachhadashyamalam matangim shashishekharam anubhaje tambula purnananam. Devi Matangi, who is worshipped as the daughter of sage Matanga, is the 9th of the Dasha Mahavidyas. She is the tantric equivalent of goddess Saraswati and is depicted to be holding a veena, pustaka, akshamala, and a shuka, all representative of learning and the arts. Worship of Devi Matangi is said to bestow skill in arts and impart knowledge and wisdom to the sadhaka. The Dhyanashloka corresponding to the 10th Mahavidya, Kamalatmika, is as follows. Kantya kanchana sannibham himagiri prakhyais chaturbhir gajaihi hastotkhipta hiranmayamrita ghatai rasinchyamanam shriyam bibhranam varamabja yugmamabhayam hastaih kiritojvalam kshaumabadha nitamba bimba lalitam vandera vindasthitam. The last of the Dasha Mahavidyas, Devi Kamalatmika, is the tantric equivalent of goddess Lakshmi. In her 4 hands, she is depicted to be holding 2 lotuses, representative of prosperity and riches, along with the Abhaya and Varada mudras. A deeper exploration of the symbolism and significance of each Mahavidya is a topic of discussion for many hours, but the actual intention behind this video is to set a context for the exploration of just one of these Mahavidyas, called as Shodashi. She is the one who is worshipped through the extremely popular Shri Yantra. Among all the Dasha Mahavidyas, the worship of Devi Shodashi is said to be most conducive for people in all walks of life. In our subsequent videos, let us explore the Shri Yantra, its structure, symbolism, and various ways of worship in complete detail. I hope that this video gave you a clear overview of the Dasha Mahavidyas. Share it across with those whom you think might benefit from this. If you wish to support the production of more videos like these, consider becoming a sponsor on Patreon or make a one-time contribution, all through the links in the description below. Also, consider clicking on the subscribe button and the bell icon beside it so that you are immediately notified of our latest updates. See you in the next video. Namaskaram.